Welcome back to Dr. Finance. This is a video I'm making for my previous students from all around the world, right? And my potential international students who are interested in my course next semester, 2025 spring semester, right? So I will give you some updates, right? I miss you guys from all around the world, from Germany, United States, France, and then Brazil or whatever, right? So how were we doing in Korea? Given that you guys were interested in Korea, you must have heard about the crazy political news going on, right? Um, all these kind of crazy things, right? We are doing okay, okay? But I just wanted to give you some update about how things are going here in Korea. Number two, I wanted to give some introduction about my class, right? Two classes in undergraduate level, which is behavioral finance and fintech, and then international finance. How much fun it was, right? So first of all, let me share my screen. Let's go. There we go. So you see my teaching evaluation score of fall semester 2024, international finance, 100 out of 100. Perfect. Yeah, thank you, man. And then number two, behavioral finance and fintech. Again, 100 out of 100. Perfect score of teaching evaluation. Again, thank you. So I hope my students really enjoyed my course. Of course, I know this is official school system that gives me evaluation score. But among the students, right, Korean students, they have some other private website called Everytime, right? ETA. They talk about me, I don't know, and all different professors. I don't know how they discuss about me, but what the heck? I don't care. Okay. So that's what I'm proud of. 100 out of 100 teaching evaluation score. Thank you. I love you guys. And then how were we doing? Okay. How was the semester? Okay. So I was teaching those two courses. And then the great thing about this is that we have about 50 students or 40 to 50 students, and more than half of it is international students, as you remember. The purpose is to mix you guys and force you guys to mingle with each other. Otherwise, I know you guys are too shy. Korean students work with Korean students only, and the international students group with international students only, so that you don't have chances to interact. You don't have chances to learn from each other, communicate, right? After all, in the age of AI, it's all about communication, clear communication. But here, I realize we have to force it somehow. So that's the beauty of my course. More than half of you guys are like different nationalities, different continents, mixing around and learn from each other, almost each class, every class, right? Remember that. And then we are solving some, financial problems or some quantitative problems or idea problems together. That's the beauty of my class. So I think students enjoyed it. Of course, there must be some self-selection issue there. Those who came to my class in the first place, they like this kind of interactive environment. And those who just don't like that talkative environment never show up they never register for my class. But what the hell? That's me. Okay. Now, another great thing about my courses, I think I'm proud of, is that we had Bloomberg Terminal session. Okay, in the beginning of the semester. Okay, I took the students to Mira Asset Building, Center One building, where the Bloomberg office is located. So these almost 90 students or something, okay, they all took 1 hour of basic Bloomberg training session. in Bloomberg Korea. They were graciously providing us the facility, and then 1 hour basic training enabled them to get familiar, okay, with this Bloomberg machine. We also have that Bloomberg machine in the library, so at least it's great for them to practice it. Number two, it helps in your job search. You know, the fact that you've got the Bloomberg training and then you're familiar with this machine, that's a great thing. Number three, okay, I took it as an opportunity. Those while one session guys are taking that session, the other two group guys, you know, they are free. So what do? Well, fortunately, we have SKKU alumni, our proud alumni, every great places, you know that, right? So, for example, Jung Jun-hyuk, okay, over here is my former student, and now he is working at a hedge fund, a Hong Kong-based hedge fund. In the office is located at the Media Asset Center, one building, PAG is the name, PAG. And then he graciously came and then bought coffees for this junior alumni, and plus this, you know, international exchange students, and then the students from M. Lyon, UC Paul, and then I'm trying to remember my great students from Romania, Luca. Okay, Luca. Yeah, and then various students from around the world. So they had a good time chit-chatting about, you know, talking about the careers in quantitative investments, and then there's trading strategies and how market works and things like that. They shared insights from Chunhyuk. That was great. And then in the evening time, also An Tae-ung from Mirae Asset IPO team, okay, graciously participated and then met our junior students from this SKKU and international students. We had a great time talking about this career in finance and IPO market and things like that. And Bloomberg, you know, before that semester, right, during the summer break, my reading group students also had a special training from Bloomberg in that same office like this. We had a great time there. So I've been really proud of that. Number three, this is precisely why I tell my students to register for my two classes concurrently or in the same semester, okay? Because it takes about, you know, going there from SKKU campus, right? It takes some 30 minutes of your time, and then coming back here, it takes about 30 minutes of your time. So if you take my two courses simultaneously, all of us will be together for 3 straight hours there. So you can fully enjoy the whole thing. Plus, there was also tax accountant who graduated from SKKU. He is now working for a tax accounting company in B&H. He graciously spared his time to meet our students, spend an hour there. I did not have a chance to take a picture with him, but he likewise, our students not only learn academically, but also go to that field and then meet the person in charge of that finance, in charge of that money, and then get the insights from the field like this. So that's what I'm proud of. And I'm strongly encouraging our students, every one of you, please register both international finance and behavioral finance and fintech together, simultaneously or concurrently. And then you will enjoy the course to the full. And another reason is because, you know, these students change their groups every other classes. So they make friends, close friends with each other internationally. So it's a great opportunity to, you know, make international friends, Korean friends, and then develop your friendship. Everlasting, you are young blood, this is your last chance to make international friends that last throughout your lives, right? Cherish that. And then also I had you know, the students from Indiana, Kelly, They already gave me an Instagram picture telling me that they are meeting there again, okay, meeting here and there again. And also a German student also told me, David, right, that when SKKU students were visiting there, he graciously hosted them and then, shared dinner together and a great time there together. That was great. So likewise, I take my class teaching as in opportunity for the young bloods to get together, globalization realized in my class. So I'm very proud of that. And then here in these two courses, what did we learn? Well, I'm going to talk about what we learned in these in the latter half of this video. So wait for that part. And that's how we did it in the beginning of the semester, September. And then we had a lot of great events in SKKU Finance Department. Especially, we were very proud to have a great top journal editor finally visiting SKKU. Professor Manju Puri from Duke University. She is the editor of Review of Financial Studies, RFS. A great, great big shot professor. We were very, very, very proud to have her. And then she gave a great presentation about her paper. And then all of us got together, the professors and then the graduate students shared her insights. We really appreciate that. Thank you. And what did I do personally? Well, I had a chance to do some broadcasting. Okay, I had some interviews. Is it a familiar face to you? Okay. 이진우 기자님, 손에 잡히는 경제 in NBC. This is a nationwide radio broadcasting system, but he also broadcasts through the YouTube, okay, like this. And then there he gave me a chance to talk about the current situation of Korean college students in terms of their career development. Okay. I know I'm a finance professor and my expertise is in financial market, but here we focused much more on the career development of our college kids because that's where the Korean students or Korean system really lacks or lackluster. We just don't have an idea about how this career training has to be. Okay. Korean systems over the past 60 years or 70 years, they were too much focused on getting into the college. But once you get into the college, forget about the graduation, forget about your career. Why? Because in the 1980s and 90s, as long as you graduated some good scores, then you're guaranteed to work for Samsung or great companies anyway, so you don't have to, worry about your career or anything, okay? But internships and then all this kind of mobility in your labor market is what counts. And that's what the American, Anglo-American system is about. That labor market, we are not ready to do that. Labor market is too inflexible in Korea. And that starts, okay, adapting it to that Anglo-American system. We need, okay, career training in college, like in SKKU. For example, meeting the senior alumni like this and having some insights about the field, right? That's what we really, really need in terms of career training so that they could have some information flowing and they would be ready to move to a better paying place anytime, right? So that flexibility, we need to develop them. So that's what I argued over here. And then he was great and insightful journalist. So I really appreciate 이진우 기자님. Thank you for hosting me there. And then I also had a great time with Mr. Jed Baron, CFA. Jed Baron has been a great equity analyst in Korea. And then he's married to a Korean lady. And then he has been really dedicated to, dedicated to the development of Korean students, career development in finance industry. So much so that he has been deeply involved in working as a judge of the CFA Research Challenge. I think that's a fantastic opportunity for our undergraduate students to get exposed and meet the real world fund managers and equity analysts in the real world and say hi to them and then get to know each other and get some great information and develop their career. And he was really, really helpful. He has been really, really helpful. So graciously, he visited my office, and then we had a nice talk like this. And we also had very famous figure in finance world, equity analyst, top analyst. His name is 염블리 염승환 이사님. Kindly visited our SKKU. So I just take it as a chance to meet him and then take pictures together and then get in touch with him. I was really happy to meet him. Okay. He's a superstar guy, star analyst. And then that's the time for me to take a selfie together, right? So I was very happy. Also, we had Mr. 강승희, 테이바 생각. He has a YouTube channel. Okay. He's a great expert in derivatives market. He used to work in Hong Kong before as a derivatives trader. Extremely smart guy, and then very proud alumni of myself. So I had a chance to talk to him on that same day because he was invited simultaneously. So we were very happy to talk to each other. And someday I'm going to host we talked to each other and then we promised, okay, let's have a live broadcasting together about, financial market, perhaps his expertise, derivatives market. He can teach me or teach us something about this, and then he can share his experience about the Hong Kong life, right? And then he can compare it with Seoul. So get ready for that later. And then another event that we had was organized by 이원재 본부장님. So Mr. 이원재, right? 이원재, he is an executive director or managing director in BNP Paribas. He is the head of this, green bond issuance and all these kind of things, right? Fixed income department. He's a great alumni of SKKU. And then he also brought 하성호 이사님. He's also a great, dedicated and great member of CFA Society of Korea. He graciously came and spent some time for our younger students. And also 이희종 이사님, he's a CPA and then joined this discussion and shared his insight. There, many of our students came and then from various backgrounds. Some of them are business majors, some of them are econ majors, different majors, joined it and asked questions like this and shared their insights. And 이원재 이사님 and these 선배님들, right? 하성호 이사님, these guys were they graciously bought beer for our young students, right? So we had such a great time. Okay, so really, really appreciate their time and effort and all this kind of dedication for the development of our younger generation. Thank you. This is what we need for the career development of our students. Also, we had another event, thankfully, okay, Zoe Chun of Bank of America Merrill Lynch and 승현 Han of NH Securities, and then Ko Chanyoung of Shinhan Asset Management, right? These guys have been working as equity analysts, or these two guys, right? Equity analysts, they are star guys, right? And SKKU graduate, GBA alumni. Also, Chanyoung is now working for the real estate investment, if I remember correctly. So these our former students, my former students, graciously came and spent some time meeting our students to share their experience as an equity analyst in a top global investment bank and then top Korean investment bank, NH, right? So really, really, I appreciate their time and effort like this. Thank you. We need this kind of event much, much more. All right. And then I was lucky on one day to have broadcasting interview with Jung-Shik Dokgi. Is a finance, very famous YouTuber in financial market. He's my friend's friend, and then just, he's Yonsei University the professor in education major, comparative education, 이무성 교수님, and then Jung-Shik Dokgi, he's 곽상준 Jung-Shik Dokgi-님, and then myself. He gave me a chance to talk about the career development center issue in Korean universities, including Sungkyunkwan University. So I was really grateful to him, just like 이진우 기자님, right? So we had a good time, great time after that interview, having lunch together like this. And what's the next picture? Well, I actually serve as an advisor to the Minister of Veteran Service, Minister for the Veteran Service in this country, South Korea. This is my honorary job, okay, honor. I'm always grateful to the minister, 강정혜 장관님, graciously selected me as the advisor to this herself, right? The Ministry of this Veteran Service. So that's why in early December, we went to the advisor to these ministers, had a meeting. How can we develop our service for the veterans who worked in the army before and then who were sacrificed during the wartime? And then there are a lot of, unknown soldiers, male, female, all together. Some of them died during the war. Some of them died in Vietnamese War, Vietnam War, and some of them died in other wars, like in wherever the Korea was involved, right? Those sacrifices. How can we express our appreciation, right? You remember how the United States is treating their veterans, utmost respect they give it. So that's how these great countries, right, become even greater. Okay, by celebrating these people, the veterans, right? So likewise, how can we develop our service better? That's the point we are always trying to address, right? For that purpose, we visited National Cemetery like this in Dongjakdong, and then it was a really touching moment, right? I learned a lot by interacting with these very respectable professionals from various, places, fields. So it gave me a great chance to think about what this country, serving for country, is about, patriotism and things like that. And of course, I know we have to be global minded, and then we should try to, promote the globalization or, harmoniously living together. But when it comes to the service for the country, right, we have to be, considering something more. Okay. So that's what we were discussing. Okay. Very proud experience I had. In December, right after this event, you see this, right? In the early December, all crazy thing exploded. You know what happened in Korean politics, and then crazy thing. What is it that the president, right? Coup d'état. What is it, a coup d'état or whatever? I don't care. But the thing is, the president was really going crazy and then declaring some national emergency and then military emergency like that. I don't know, even remember what the word was, but and in the middle of the night, okay? And then my students, international students, were really freaked out. Oh my God, what the hell is going on? And then, is it okay? What is going to be the value of Korean won? Immediately, we had to worry about that. But, things have been okay economically because we have enough of foreign reserve, dollar reserves. So 400 billion US dollars, right? We still have that. So we are rich enough to sustain, right? But that's economics and finance. So that's why the US dollar price in Korean won has been settled around the middle of 1400 or something, 1430 or something so far. I told you, okay? There's not going to be a financial crisis in Korea. No, because we have enough of money. We are rich enough. But this political uncertainty just does not help in the long run. Okay. And then why did the president, did such a crazy thing? And then eventually, within 3 hours, it was blocked by the National Assembly, right? And then obviously that's against the Constitution. And he was, how do you say? Uh, he was shooting his foot himself. Okay. So what can we say? Why did you do such a crazy thing? And the thing is, as time went by, the public opinion started to switch. Initially, the public opinion was against the president on the right wing or the extremist right wing. The president was more brainwashed, we think, by the extreme right-wing YouTubers. And the extreme right-wing YouTubers, they have been spreading all this conspiracy theory. This conspiracy theory always kind of getting more attention. I told you, okay, conspiracy theory about Jewish bankers and all this kind of, oh, who is controlling it? That kind of things really sell well to the public. So he was subscribing to that and then driven by that kind of things. So that's why. Number two, there was another reason. Turns out the left wing, the opposition leaders, right? They were also problematic. Okay, so we cannot say uniformly, unilaterally, one party did a bad thing because the other party was giving some reason why the opposition party was impeaching every ministers and then the key persons in the administration, okay, the 장관님들, right, or 총리, all people in this key position were impeached. So many people, not all, but like 20 or something. So much so that this administration, they got really pissed off and the president could not do anything. What the hell? So that's why he was like, remember, he is a prosecutor. 검찰, he's like this kind of guy, right? So if you do crazy things, I do crazy things too. So that's why. But does that mean, you can do whatever crazy things, right? Despite the, constitutions and all these kind of things, right? So now people are debating more crazily about that. Or rather, my kind of people in the middle ground, okay, fade away or shy away from that kind of discussion. You can talk about whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't bother our business, my business of teaching and researching, or my business of financing, right? The economic activity don't bother us. But the trouble is what? The craziness in the, politics now went to the extreme. So much so that right after the declaration of this, military things, right? Since the early December, the consumer confidence in Korea got tanked or ruined. What it used to be like 100 or something, it has to be 95 or 100, the consumer confidence level. But now it is like 80 or 70 something, or if I remember correctly. So it's really terrible. And when I went to the local markets in 성신여대 있고, right, nearby 도남시장, The other day I went there and I found out it's like really ruined. Okay, the whole market was really retail market was really ruined. How can we get over this situation? Okay, we need some political stability. But is this situation uniquely only confined to Korea, or is it something we are sharing all around the world, and Korea just experienced as the forerunner, like K-pop? People follow Korea in outside the world. It seems like, I'm sorry if I sounded too arrogant, but somehow, Korea seemed to be in hot in fashion and in leading the way somehow. And then maybe you guys may follow our footstep. Crazy. Look at America. What's going on? Trump eventually took up the, inaugurated, and then he got this into the president position. Well, good luck. Okay, if you're a Republican, congratulations. If you're a Democrat, I don't know what to say about that. But the conflict between, or grumbling, or the animosity between these extreme right wing versus extreme left wing, that's driving everybody crazy everywhere in the world. And you've seen those, that Elon Musk, like what the gesture, hand gesture, what it did. Was it Nazi salute versus not? And then, controversy is there, very provocative action he was taking. Crazy. And then, what about the other part of the world, right? Italia, and then Germany, and then all around the world. This issue, okay, left wing versus right wing, something we just don't want to see, but it's inevitable. The polarization and hatred issue, okay, how can we get over? Okay, is a big challenge in terms of, for everybody. Okay, for especially, I'm teaching international finance, and then the globalization wave. We talk about it, but what are we facing in terms of globalization wave? Isn't it the end of it? Now what? Okay. That's a big issue right now. Anyway, but having said that, what did we do in December? We had I participated in CAFM, okay, the top conference held in Korea, Yeouido Conrad Hotel, and you see the president of Korea Securities Association, and then the Professor Byung-Yeon Hwang over there from NTU, and then Jung Ji-young professor from France, right? She is our proud alumni graduated from SKKU GBA, and then Kim Hae-kwang 교수님, right? He is now in University of South Carolina, but he used to teach in SKKU before. And then Byung-Hyun Hwang, he's in NTU in Singapore. And then you see Professor Lilian Ng doing a seminar presentation about her paper, very interesting, Innovating Green, Competition Meets Regulation, very important papers and then research. They presented it and got some feedback. So that was very great scholarly event we had. Another event that we had was you see this Cavalcade Asia 2024 in December. And then we were very proud to have this top conference for the first time in Korea's history, and that in SKKU, my school, right? So we are very happy to have to see these great scholars from around the world, and especially you see a legendary Professor Jun Ban of MIT, and she presented her a very interesting research paper about a pre-FOMC drift in bond market, and followed by the discussion of Ingomar in Germany. And he was replicating her results with his data. That was really amazing. And in that conference, right, I was very happy to see my Minnesota alumni, Xiao Jilin, visiting SKKU. He was my closest. He was my closest PhD, colleague, 1 year ahead of me, and then he gave me a lot of insights and shared his experience while I was in the PhD program. So I'm really grateful to him and our Minnesota alumni from China, and then working in great schools right now in the Canada and the United States and then all around the world. And then Ai Heng Jie, he was also great. He's now a big shot guy. Xiao Ji and then Ai Heng Jie, they are have many publications in JPE. That's top economics journals, right? Not just one, but many, many. They're great gurus in, what is that? The macrofinance asset pricing, big shot. And then Junho Park from Myungji University is my great colleague and co-worker in my papers. And he did a presentation, the discussion of an interesting paper. And then there was a lot of, interesting paper being discussed, very intriguing, worth going to top journals pretty soon. And you see Xiao Zhang from UMD, and then discussion of the wonderful paper by the professor in Taiwan Central University, and then Professor Zhang, what is it? The Jing Zhang from Hong Kong Poly U, and then we had a great time meeting these great minds from all around the world. Proudly, meeting them in the very school that I am working. Okay, so Cavalcade Asia, that was a great event that we had over the last year. Okay, so that's pretty much it for my experience or how I was doing over the last semester. Now I will have to talk about how the next semester will be organized, I would say. Okay, so here, here I would like to share the behavioral finance and fintech syllabus and international finance the syllabus together, because I strongly encourage my students to take these two courses concurrently. Okay, I gave you the reason, I told you the reason why I encourage taking it together, because you will make a lot of friends, Korean, non-Korean friends getting together, and then these Bloomberg session, logistically, you need 3 hours to go there and come back here. So that's why take these courses together, and you will get the most out of it. Okay. And then in behavioral finance class, what is that about? Well, this, first of all, midterm exam 25%, final exam 35%, and then valuation of K-pop company, okay, takes up 20% of your grade. So that's basically what we're going to do. But the course is about investor psychology and the CEO psychology. What's going on in the mind of your investor? Okay, have you ever invested in coins, Bitcoins, or anything, right? What's in your mind? Okay, what drives you to invest and jump into that? Or what's fear versus greed? Okay, how are we driven? Overconfidence, or that kind of mindset. How do we distinguish that? What triggers it? And then what kind of mistake do we make? Is there any way we could quantify those things? And psychology as an investor, okay? And we have basic 3 concepts we have to think about in behavioral finance, as especially in investing world, right? Number 1 is over extrapolation. Number 2 is overconfidence, and number 3 is prospect theory. Okay, what are those, right? Over extrapolation, you believe that current immediate trend will persist in the long run. That's wrong. So that's why Number two, overconfidence, right? As you succeed more in your investment, you get arrogant, and then you don't hear about the negative news, and then you place a narrow range of the confidence band, and then eventually, oh, you realize belatedly and get shocked, and you lose money. Okay, your overconfidence up to a certain degree, that's good, but in investment world, that's not. We're going to learn more precisely about what we mean about that. Number three, prospect theory. What is that? Well, are we always risk averse? Okay, sometimes not. Okay, so what makes us become more risk seeking? Okay, and then why is our stock investment account full of underperforming underwater stocks in our portfolio? Okay, um, so that kind of ideas and concepts we're going to talk about and study in this fun course, by the way. And then number two, K-pop company valuation. Okay, why do we do it? Because half of you are international students. I know you came to Korea because you like K-pop companies. So how can we value those things, right? And then is there any bubble or crash associated with this K-pop being more viral versus not? Okay. And what's your stock recommendation? JYP, SM, or HYBE, right? What do you think about those companies, right? Should we buy this stock or sell this stock or what? In the long run, in the short run, what's your trading strategy? Okay, so that's basically it for this course, right? There's no textbook, but I give you my previous class notes for free anyway. So you're gonna do that, read it, and then there is a what is it? um, you know, the participation grade, each time you talk something, I give you something and I recognize your participation. And also you can ask me more longer question, conceptual kind of questions, or, some current issue related deep questions using this Google Forms. If you click those things and then you can ask me and I can answer those questions every, class. And that's basically it for the this behavioral finance course. The next is about international finance course. So international finance, what is this about? Well, it's about, FX, foreign exchange. I told you, US dollar price in Korean won units. That's like right now, 1435 or something, okay? But what drives this FX, right? It's more about the macroeconomics. The behavioral finance is more about microeconomics and financial micro, okay? Whereas this one is more about really the macro, GDP, import and export, all these kind of things, okay? Why do we have to learn about it? Well, you came to Korea. Welcome to Korea. Korea is really an export-oriented country. So what's the breadwinning industry in Korea? Well, semiconductor and like Hyundai, SK Hynix and Samsung Electronics, right? By far, Samsung Electronics has been the breadwinner in this whole country. And then the semiconductor import and export issues, right? The dollar price or Korean won value, right? It really affects their profitability in their income statement, and how much does it affect their stock prices and things like that. We have every reason to study FX, given that you are studying in Korea. You want to understand the key core industry of this very country, either semiconductor or the motor, Hyundai Motor. Now, the third one is Hanwha, maybe the military, okay, because they are exporting a lot of the military goods there. And here, I'm trying to give you some extra book over here. Chip War is our supplementary book throughout this semester. Here, what do we do? Well, again, midterm exam 25%, final exam 20%, plus there will be a valuation project for about semiconductor companies, okay? global semiconductor industry analysis will be it. And there, understanding chips and then semiconductors, you need this book, okay? It's not a textbook. It's just a good reading material, fun reading material. I know you hate reading, but this is a fantastic book by Chris Miller. Okay, Harvard graduate. He's now in a great university in Boston. I try to remember it. Yeah, and then he nicely and wonderfully summarizes or bird eye view about the development of semiconductor industry and where it is headed right now. Why do I suggest this one? Well, there are too many semiconductor related books in Korea written by either Korean or Chinese or Taiwanese or Japanese. They are so much Asia-centric book. And then usually those Korean books, they how do you say? That's a hero story about how Samsung is great or how Lee Byung-chul, the founding family, is fantastic, like a dear leader in North Korea or something. I respect those guys, but it's too much subjective, narrow-minded, okay, and patriotic only. So much so that it's so narrow-scoped. It does not help us, right? Whereas this one is really globally minded and then give you a fair share about each different companies. And then it goes back to the concept of post-Second World War regime of the containment strategy of containment by George Kennan, and then how this Cold War developed, and then how this Bretton Woods system was established is a key issue we have to study anyway. Bretton Woods system, the currency regime, and then those things, how they are related to this Cold War. And then inevitably, this Cold War and then semiconductor are intertwined with each other because of the high-tech warfare they have to worry about. You don't want the Soviet Union to take over that high tech of Germany and Japan. That's the key issue. So the strategy of containment was how to isolate Soviet Union out of this Germany and Japan's technology, even though these two countries were war criminals, right? Let's forgive them. That was the idea. And then the precision bomb, okay? The precision bomb. How could they develop it? Semiconductor. That's precisely this is about. And recently, how things developed, where China come in there. Okay. And then China started to claim their 中国梦, like the great desire and what is that? The ambition to be claim again their hegemony of the whole world. Okay, which means US get away from us. Okay. And then that is precisely what, Trump administration and the American people started to feel insecure. Previously, China and Asia was completely, not completely, but rather ignored. How could they be, so much of a threat? Yeah, the most threat was about this coming from Soviet Union or German technology, okay? The Asian threat was really underestimated in 1950s or something. Of course, the GDP, or they were poor, but as things developed after the detente and then 1990s and then ever since, right? Think again, okay? Think again. And then the Chinese empire, right? They are claiming back. Tang Dynasty, like 1,000 years ago, we used to be number one. We want it back. So how can how can the United States make America great again, right? Those high technologies, right? That's the issue about this, especially AI war, right? Artificial intelligence, precision bombing was the key issue in the Cold War against the Soviet Union. Okay. And that precision bombing now turns out to be what? Another form is what? Drone. The drone attack, right? Really, really precisely attack the key person only, but not killing the mass, right? So you need semiconductor for that purpose. Very, very developed high-tech industry. Not many people can produce those semiconductors, chips, memory chips like Samsung Electronics or GPU these days, right? NVIDIA and TSMC, all these kind of things. There's a hot and tremendous issue. Okay. And that goes together with this foreign exchange thing because it's all about global supply chain, extremely complicated network, and that only a handful of players can produce them. And then Trump administration is trying to block them somehow, and Korea is stuck in the middle. Precisely that's why we are having such a hard time in Korea. Okay. And some of the American scholars and the trade partners perceive Korea as a proxy for China, which is it really the case? I don't know. I don't know. But so that is a key tricky point, and we want to address those things together. Isn't it fun, right? So that's why my students really enjoyed this class, I think. And then it goes together with this foreign exchange concepts, the macroeconomic policy of different big, huge powers. And then Korea, interestingly, by the way, Korea is surrounded by either big powers or crazy guys. We are stuck in the, between a rock and a hard place. What do you mean? Superpower countries like China, United States, Japan, and Soviet Union, Russia, right? Coincidentally, they are all our neighbors. Okay. And one more country called North Korea. So macroeconomics and then diplomacy could not be harder than this South Korea issue over here. Okay. And there, the international trade issues centers upon this semiconductor. Taiwan, South Korea, how things will develop, we don't know. Okay. And we have Samsung Electronics there. And SKKU, coincidentally, is heavily supported by Samsung Group anyway. So we have every reason to study this key industry, global semiconductor, and then FX, the international finance, is a nice conduit, great conduit to study these issues and share the insight, okay, together, and then discuss the things, how things will develop. And the final project, what do you do? Well, give me a stock recommendation about, any of these semiconductor companies, right? Texas Instrument, Intel, Apple, Sony, Micron, Samsung Electronics. You read this book, and these will be show up in any part of this book. So it's worth reading it. Very fun stuff. And then AMD, is it a familiar name? TSMC, ASML. If you are from Netherlands, welcome. Right? NVIDIA, Broadcom, Qualcomm, SK Hynix, Kioxia. So Japanese companies or whatever nationals, whatever countries you are from, you may be able to find some semiconductor related companies there. But it's going to be a lot of fun anyway. And then here I give you some ideas or guidelines about what to look at in different companies, right? And that's basically it. And then you will have some confidential peer evaluation, just in case if there are some free riders, you can punish them. But that's about it anyway. So I hope you liked my introduction about these courses, two courses, and this video as well. Hopefully, was insightful or sharing some information with you. How is Korea doing? What do you feel like? Right? Is Kim Jong-un going to invade you soon? Nah, no. We have even crazier people around here, so he is. I think he's scared by now. No, don't worry. I think it's okay. Hopefully. We're gonna struggle a little bit. Yeah, more or less. but we will try to learn about, how to get over this, right? Remember Korea, okay? It's a magical country, I think, right? The democratization, electing the president and the shifting of power from right wing to left wing and vice versa. We've been experiencing it over the last half a century, okay? And almost this is the only country has, not the only, but rare countries in Asia that was developing into this democratized society. Within that short period of time, okay? Very miraculous development. Why do I say miraculous? Well, think about the France, right? Ever since the French Revolution, it took them more than 100 years, a lot of bloodshed to achieve the true democratic society. More than 100 years, right? And then in the end, but we were experiencing it without such a lot of bloodshed. Not much, right? We did some bloodshed, but not as much of a turbulence in the society within shorter amount of time. So inevitably, there will be some troubles that we have to go through in this country. That means democracy is not a free lunch. Okay, we have to have some. We will have to go through some of the difficult times, right? I would say this is one of the difficult times the Korea faces. Okay, but hopefully, okay, we will get over these difficulties. With our your help as an international insights, and internally the student, the people will be um, people will be more rational and they'll try to figure out a better solution somehow. Okay, so hopefully things will be okay. Economically, yeah, it's difficult, but no situation to worry about another financial crisis. There is various reasons. You're going to learn about that by taking my course, International Finance, right? Foreign reserve and an export-oriented country, right? It's Korean won is cheaper, which means our cars and chips will be cheaper in the international market. So we call it J-curve effect. You're gonna see that. Okay, so no need to worry that much. Okay, but let's see. It's keep our fingers crossed, and then that's about it. But anyway, thanks for watching this. And then I miss you guys. If you are my former students, thank you for watching it, and I hope to meet you someday in the future. Or you can talk to me and email me sometimes and remind me, okay, when you took my courses and things like that. So I'll be really happy to see you and talk to you later, and then keep in touch, stay in touch. All right, bye bye.